Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm finally going to film something on the Bronco Raptor, and that includes installing a winch. So I'm going on an off-road trip on the California southern half of the BDR, and I would really like a winch since it's November and there's snow everywhere. So I've had the Super Winch for a while. It's been sitting in the garage, and I finally decided to just get a winch mount. I would like a full bumper, but really didn't want to spend the money on it right now. So the rough country winch mount with the camera relocation kit is about $300, and I'd figured I'd give it a shot. So as always, I'm gonna weigh everything and see how much weight I'm adding to the front of the Bronco. We're really not taking much off, so it'll all just be in addition to the front, and I'm curious to see how much of a difference it makes in handling and the ride height. So to start, I guess, why Super Winch? Honestly, it was on sale. I was thinking about getting a Warn. This comes with a remote control that's wireless as well. Plus it has a similar warranty as the Warn winch, so I figured I'd give it a shot. And then rough country, just honestly because it was cheap. And the bad thing is some of the powder coat in shipping is actually chipping off. So it is kind of inexpensive and a little, you know, you get what you pay for. I'll try it out, and eventually I'll probably add a full bumper to the Bronco. All right, so I have the winch mount on the scale. Shows 31.05 pounds. I'll unbox the camera relocation kit as well and throw it on the scale and see how much that adds. All right, so the camera relocation kit with all the wiring and hardware is 2.3 pounds. And lastly, I have the 12K Super Winch. And it has synthetic line, so it's a little bit lighter, but fair lead. I can balance this on here, hook, and all the hardware and cabling. I didn't include the controller because that's not necessarily on the front, but it shows away 60.2 pounds. Okay, so altogether, I'm adding 93.5 pounds to the front of the Bronco, which actually seemed like a little more than I thought it would be, but I'm gonna do it anyway, see what happens. So the Rough Country website actually says that the winch mount won't fit on the Ford Raptor. And I was like, you know, it looks the same, why not? And I've seen pictures, they actually have on their own website, pictures of this winch mount mounted on the Raptor. One of the big differences that I actually realized after I started looking at the Bronco is this piece right here on the normal Bronco mod bumper is one single piece that pops out right here. On the Raptor, this is all one connected piece. So when I go to trim the section here, it'll just be a little bit different. But I think we can still make it work. So I'm not huge on install videos, but to start, we're gonna have to take off all these rivets and a little bit of the airbox to pull this huge plastic piece here so I can get the grille off and start messing with the camera relocation kit. All right, smash the like button if you hate pop rivets. Anyway, that's all off. Now I gotta take off the hardware for the grill so that I can pop the grill off. So we'll go ahead and do that now. All right, moment of truth. Supposedly this just pops right off. So we'll see. Oop. Should have disconnected the hose first. Pause. All right, when all else fails, you should read the instructions that I had laying right here next to this spot that I have to disconnect. Okay. All right, let's continue. Maybe. Oh, geez. Of course, there's another connector over here that I didn't see. It's probably for the Raptor lights that the normal Broncos don't have on their instructions, just so you know. Don't forget to unclip this if you can get it off. All right, we're successful. Okay, so now that we got this off, we have to disconnect the camera and the water and then pull these bolts here. There's actually a bolt hidden underneath here that we have to take off, so we can take this whole bracket off to remove the camera. Disconnect. Okay, just gotta sort through this rat's nest and try and get this disconnected. Oh, wait. Ah! Victory. Okay, so this is where the instructions are a little vague. So once you get this off, you're supposed to take this connector off. Maybe. And then we're just leaving all this here, and you're actually just bypassing this from where this actually mounts. So you don't even use this. So this will connect to the camera on the mount, and then this end will connect to the Bronco that we disconnected, or that I forgot to disconnect. So put all these back too. Okay, so I fed the hose down behind the light, and it kind of comes out down here for right now. I'll connect it a little bit. But a pro tip, don't hook this up to the washer fluid reservoir until you're ready, because you'll just siphon all the fluid onto your garage floor. All right, we'll just put this back on. If I can line it up correctly. Something fell. All right, this is what fell. These have little metal clips on them, and one of them popped off on this side and fell into the bumper somewhere. So I gotta take the bumper off anyway. Go ahead and just fish out that clip. All right, before we get started with the bumper, this backing plate seems to just sandwich in between here with the camera. So the camera will stick out the front, and then this will mount with the fair lead. So I'll go ahead and assemble that. Some things to note, it came with extra hardware for the fair lead, but the head of this bolt doesn't fit in my Super Winch fair lead, so we'll just have to use the Super Winch hardware. All right, underneath the bumper, these are all more pop rivets, I think. If you can get them off. Oh boy. All right, this should be fun. Man, those are really on there. Okay, so theoretically this just pops off too. I already got that side started. All right. So now we'll just have to trim out some of this section here. All right, before you can remove the bumper, there's a harness up there that you have to disconnect before the bumper will come off. This is under the driver's side in front of the tire. Since I have the grill off already, it's actually easier to get to that. The plug in here, and then I actually just reached around the bumper, stuck my hand in back here, and pulled it out. All right. I'm sure we'll find some other surprise that the Raptor has that the instructions don't include. Here we go. This thing feels kind of heavy now. So it says have a friend. I don't have one with me right now, so see what happens. Nope. Oh man, that thing is heavy. Oh boy. Yep, all sorts of pieces are falling. All right, I'm stubborn, so I'll probably just drop something. See what happens. Good old Badlands. I'd really like to shove my knees. See if we can get it to land in my lap. No. There's something else connected. God. Fog lights, probably fog lights. God. I mean, honestly, I can't tell where the other harness is. Maybe there's one, I don't know. So I'm gonna try one more time and see if I can just get it to fall in my lap. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's not too terrible. Oh man, that thing is kind of heavy. That's crazy. That's crazy this thing weighs so much. Time for the scale. All right, let's see. Lift with your legs. Oh boy. Did not move that over enough. Yeah, super gentle. 86.15 pounds. All right, so those clips that I was talking about, I have no idea where they went because they didn't fall down in there. So I might just have to go without them. Man, it's kind of crazy the amount of work you have to do just to get these sensors. Taking the bumper off is not that big of a deal, but you gotta take these 4 bolts off to get to where the sensor's at. Okay. Oh. So you can see the sensor is actually right down here. You had to take the whole plate off just to get to that, to unclip it, to add it to the new bumper. All right, so that was a pain in the butt. Definitely just get a friend. It's easier to put the bumper back on. So Rough Country actually recommends in the instructions to assemble the winch and everything before you put this on. I'm just gonna try a different way. One thing to notice, there's these little spacers. They actually go underneath the winch mount after you put the bolt through. Oh boy. So you have to put them between the spacer and then you just reuse the factory bolts. So I'll get all these in and tighten them down and then we'll try and put the winch plate on top. All right, so I went ahead and bolted everything up, just test fit it on the Bronco. One thing to consider is these plates go in the front of the winch mount because I tried to put them on in the rear, not following the instructions correctly, and they stick out too far and it messes up. The other thing, this little clip here that goes on the end of this, it sticks out quite a bit, and when I test fit the winch, I'll show you in just a second, it contacts the winch. But otherwise, I'll put the grill back on and show you what it looks like with the winch test fit. All right, here's the winch. It's just sitting on the plate. One of the issues is it contacts down here with that clip and kind of pushes it down. What I really wish is just reuse the factory clips on this and then it wouldn't stick out so much. The other thing to consider is all this wiring back here. It is very, very tight against this bottom rail. And so we'll just have to feed this and squish it back in here. Okay, so this top plate's gonna have to come off because I can't mount the winch, because if you look down in here, the bumper underneath is blocking the hole and you can't fit the bolt through the hole. So I'll take the top plate off. I think the base mount is still fine. Okay, so one thing to note is the hardware that came with the Super Winch Fairlead is not long enough to use with the camera mount as well. There's barely enough thread sticking out to thread the bolt on. So I'm gonna have to get longer hardware. Just something to consider depending on what fair lead you use. Ta-da! Here's the final product. Well, I still need to wire everything in, but so far everything fits really well. Definitely put this top plate on after you've put the winch on. And then the camera relocate, it actually was supposed to fit right behind the fair lead. I think it looks cleaner behind the winch mount. I still need to get longer hardware, but for now it's just mocked up and it's holding just fine. Probably have to get like a little bit of weather stripping for up here because this touches the control box for the winch. But other than that, everything looks pretty good. So far I'm happy. All right, so this is what the reality of wiring things look like. Headlamp, safety glasses so you can look underneath so dirt doesn't fall in your eyes. Drop the skid plate so you have just that much more room to fish these wires through tiny little spaces. And this is the worst part. Okay, so this is taking way too long. A couple things. This camera mount, it does not work on the inside because the camera on the inside actually contacts the housing for this. So you did have to put it on the outside. So I put it back on the outside, wired everything up. I still have to put the skid plate on. I still have to trim the plastic, but it works. All right, so I'll go over trimming the plastic, throw it on, and give an overview of everything I think about it. So when it came to trimming the plastic, you know, there's directions that tell you to do measurements on the top edges. But what I decided to do instead was just measure shorter than where the actual measurement said to do. And then I would just cut a little bit off at a time and then fix it up on the Bronco and then see where I needed to cut some more. So just taking a little bit off at a time is probably the best way to do it, especially because the instructions were a little bit different than the regular Bronco. And then as far as cutting goes, I use one of these air tools with a plastic blade. And honestly, cutting this just became really frustrating to me. And so my cuts are probably not the cleanest, but I just started going a little at a time and then mock it up again. And it mostly came out okay. Okay, so everything's installed, everything's working, and I just got back from my trip on the California Southern BDR. It was total travel over 1,000 miles, and a lot of that was the off-road portion of it. And so far, I have to say, I really like this winch setup. So when I first got it, I wasn't quite sure on the looks because I was really hoping for a complete front bumper. But the more I have it, the more it's grown on me, and I really am starting to like this. So far, you know, everything, the cruise control underneath has worked out really well. The parking sensors continue to work really well. There was one fault on one of them, and I think it was just because it got dirty. And so far the camera has been working really well as well. So one of my concerns with adding the winch mount and the winch up front was adding all the weight and it affecting the handling of the Bronco. So far, the only difference that I can really tell is maybe the steering is just a little bit heavier, but other than that, I can't really tell it's there. It's been driving great. The only thing I can't say is actually using the winch, because on the BDR trip, we did encounter snow, but unfortunately we didn't get stuck and I didn't need to use the winch, so that's always a good thing. However, I just don't have any firsthand experience using it so far. But when I do, I'll get back to you guys. Okay, so overall, I'm really happy with this winch mount and the way it looks. You can see that I've added some lights here, video on those coming soon. But overall, would I buy it again? The answer is yes, I would absolutely buy it again. And I do recommend it if you're looking to just spend less money, but still throw a winch on your Bronco. I think this is really the way to go. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.